What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ryan Pineda Show. We talk all things money, real estate, entrepreneurship, and in today's episode, we're going over President Trump's tax returns, what exactly they mean, are they legit, what can we learn from them? We're gonna dive into all of those things, so stay tuned. So if you haven't heard or you've been living under a rock, the New York Times recently published an article claiming that they have President Trump's tax returns from the last 20 years. And in that article, they go in depth on all the little discrepancies and things he spent his money on and how much tax he's paid. Now, the article's pretty long and pretty thorough, so you can find that in the link below and read it for yourself. But in this video, I'm just gonna give you the condensed version of what the article says, whether I agree with it or not, and what we can actually learn from it. The article can really be summed up in 20 seconds. Essentially, for the last 20 years, Trump has not paid very much in income tax at all. In many cases, it's been zero. And the conclusion that the New York Times comes to is that number one, he's a bad businessman. His companies are losing way more money than he claims, and that's why he's not paying taxes. And then number two, a lot of his write-offs may or may not be legal. And that pretty much sums up the article. They go much more in depth on all the instances where they see discrepancies and stuff like that, but all of that is evidence to support their theory that he's a bad businessman and he may or may not be doing illegal things. But is that really true? Is he a bad businessman? Or is he somebody who's gaming the system, using all these tax advantages that the government gives us as business owners and as real estate owners? Well, before we can say that, we've got to make some assumptions. Now, I was never good at science, but I had learned the scientific method back in 6th grade. So in order for us to analyze this, we got to assume certain things. I know a lot of Trump supporters are going to say this article is fake news, you can't believe it, yada, yada, yada. And if we do that, then there's nothing left to say on this video. It's fake, there's nothing to talk about. But let's actually assume that this article has some truth to it. It would be foolish to say that 100% of it is truth, but definitely some aspects I'm gonna assume are true. So if we assume that he has not paid that much in income tax, what exactly does that mean? It means that one of two things are happening. Number one, he's a bad businessman like the New York Times is claiming. His businesses are so unprofitable that he doesn't pay taxes. Even if your business is bringing in millions or billions in revenue, if you're not turning a net profit, then you don't have to pay taxes. You shouldn't pay taxes if you lose money. So that makes sense. The second option would be he's taking advantage of all the different tax incentives that business owners and real estate investors get. For those of you who don't know, the tax code actually incentivizes business owners to do this. As a business owner, I'm able to deduct a lot of things against my income. An example of that would be section 179 of the tax code. I recently bought a Tesla Model X this year, and I am going to get to write that off against my income for this year. So I spent close to $100,000 on that car. And for simplicity's sake, that is now $100,000 that I get to deduct against my income. So now I get to pay taxes on $100,000 less of income. Other big tax write-offs we've done this year are furnishing our brand new office. We spent tens of thousands of dollars buying all of this furniture. Everything you see for my studio, I paid a lot of money for, and I'm gonna get to write it off. All these computers, all these trips, much of the travel I do is business related, even though we get to enjoy it as a vacation. The purpose is for business, and I'm able to write it off. So just on the business owner side, the tax code incentivizes you to spend money, because when you spend money, you pay less taxes, and in turn, you actually stimulate the economy. Buying a car is a good thing for the economy. Buying furniture, buying computers, going on vacation, those are all great for the economy. The government loves that. They would rather have you do those type of things and keep the economy rolling versus save the money, do nothing, and pay taxes. And that's why business owners have it good. Now, when you look at the real estate side of things, there's so many other write-offs. Rentals get depreciation. That is a huge write-off that we take advantage of. Honestly, one of the biggest reasons that I buy rentals is for tax reasons. The $200 a month cash flow doesn't do anything for me. But when I can do a cost segregation on a home and then write it off and take a big chunk out of the taxes I have to pay, that's a beautiful thing. And the thing is, all of these are totally legal. If you're watching this video right now, you can take advantage of these same tax loopholes. And I wouldn't even call them loopholes, they're not hidden. You just gotta go out and buy real estate, and you gotta get out there and own a business. Now, even if you're a W-2 worker, you can still take advantage of the business side. Go start a side hustle that makes you money. Now you can start taking deductions with your side hustle. Seriously guys, anyone can be a business owner in today's world. There's so many different side hustles. But anyways, back to Trump. As a business owner and as a real estate investor, I'm certain he is writing off every single thing possible that he can. And we all know how much he values his image. By him spending money on all these expensive, lavish things, it feeds his image, whether right or wrong, and he's able to write it off because his image is his brand, and his brand is his business. He licensed out his name to hotels. They pay him just to use the Trump name. That is a brand image, and the only reason he has that image is because he portrays this lifestyle. So the government is incentivizing him to spend crazy money because he's able to write it off. He's continuing to buy real estate because it gives him crazy tax write-offs. So what's my conclusion then? Is he number one, just a bad businessman, or number two, taking advantage of the system? Honestly, I think it's a combination of both. He's definitely taking advantage of the system. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But I would also assume, like any business, he's had bad decisions. I'm certain the hotel business is not doing good right now during the pandemic. I'm sure his hotels are really hurting. So for sure, bad business decisions are probably playing a role. In the article, they talk about a $1 billion loss he had almost 30 years ago that has been carrying over for the past 20 years. I totally can believe that. He's had bankruptcies. He's able to use those losses to offset his taxes. Now look, we don't know if this article is even legit or what the full truth is, but my guess is a lot of it is true. I think for sure Trump is getting a ton of deductions and not paying a lot in income tax. But there is one part that the Times fails to mention, that Trump is actually paying a lot in taxes. He may not be paying his own personal income tax, but you can better believe he's paying millions in unemployment, Medicare, workers' comp, Social Security. He has to pay that on all of his W-2 employees. And over the last 20 years, I don't know how many employees he's had, but I can guarantee you he's paid hundreds of millions in those type of taxes. So to characterize him as somebody who's paid no taxes is definitely not true. His businesses have paid enormous amounts in taxes. And as we wrap up this video, I want to leave you guys with one final thought. People who are making a lot of money are always looking for ways to offset their tax bill. Whether it's big corporations like Amazon and Tesla, or even guys like Trump, or even people like me. Everyone wants to offset their taxes and pay as little as possible. And I'm sure most of you watching this video would want to do the same. If you were able to legally pay less taxes by doing this thing, why wouldn't you do it? So here's what I would say. If there's somebody who made a lot of money and still paid a ton of taxes, even though they're a business owner and they have the ability to invest in real estate, I would say they did a poor job of planning. I would assume they would have did a better job at planning for their taxes. Because you know you're gonna make a lot of money, so you should be thinking throughout the year, how can I offset some of this income? And if you failed to do that, you might be a great businessman, but you're not a very good investor or tax planner. You should probably hire some tax planners to help you with that. And look, I didn't make this video to be an advertisement for my company. For those of you who don't know, I own a company called TrueBooks. We're a CPA company for real estate investors. You can find it in the link below. But almost all the people we work with on the real estate side are always thinking about taxes for that year. How can they buy properties and do certain things to limit their tax liability? It's perfectly legal. The government incentivizes you to do it, so why wouldn't you? It just comes down to poor planning with your taxes. You made a lot of money, but you didn't plan properly. So if you want help planning with your taxes, definitely go click the link below. But overall, as it relates to President Trump and this article, as I said before, I think there's a lot of truth to it. There's probably a lot of lies to it. I'm almost 100% certain he's not paying a lot in income tax, whether he says it or not. And I'm certain he's probably not as great of a businessman as he claims. We know he likes to use hyperbole and really dramatize everything. So if I had to guess, I would say his businesses don't do as good as he claims. But if I was a betting man, I would not say he's a bad businessman. He's doing exactly what you would think a good businessman is doing. He's figuring out how to lower his tax bill, acquire more assets, acquire more businesses. In my opinion, it'd be difficult to fake it for as long as he has if he wasn't having success. At some point, it would have caught up with him and he would have flown by the wayside. But that's my take, guys. Do me a favor, guys. If you like this video, go hit that like button. If you haven't already, go subscribe. Make sure you follow me on all my socials. And if this is your first time on this channel, definitely go check out our playlist. We've got a lot of great content on money, real estate, and entrepreneurship, so go check those out. Take care.